Hey guys, Zach here. Today we're going to be talking about a semi-controversial topic. Why are BMW cooling systems bad? Straight out of the gate, they're not bad. They're really not. Yes, in the newer motors, N52, N54, N55s, we've got semi-expensive electric cooling pumps on the side now instead of, something belt-driven off the center of the motor. They did that for efficiency and all kinds of stuff, that we don't know about. So it's not terrible, right? The other really big thing is these cooling systems generally fail, say, 100,000, 150,000 miles, some of them even longer than that. Really, the main portion of what fails on the car is going to be 9 times out of 10 this upper radiator hose. Now, why is it always the upper radiator hose? Well, it's kind of twofold. Number one, of course, is that the hot coolant's coming out of the engine here, headed towards the radiator, and this plastic connector is the first thing that's going to see that temperature change. That higher, 200 plus degree temperature here is going to hit this connector first before it goes into the top of the radiator, zigzagging its way down before it goes out. So that lower radiator hose, more often than not, is not going to see the same temperature peak and swings that upper radiator hose. But the real kicker is, this rubber is designed to handle that coolant, right? The chemical composition of that coolant, it's designed for it. The thing that really kills these hoses are leaks from the oil cooler or the oil filter housing gaskets. So when these gaskets fail, right, these guys, what happens is that connector gets contaminated with oil. So run out to your BMW right now, find the upper cooling hose, and look at this portion of rubber right here. This is a new hose, so you can't really see it, but look on the inside edge of that band clamp and see if it's swollen. If it's swollen, that means it's absorbed oil, it's contaminated, and it's weakened, right? So that flange is going to fail, right? It happens all the time. This is off a 335. You can see the hose is still in relatively good shape. It's definitely gummy at the end there, and that upper hose failed. This upper hose on this car failed as well. So I know I've got to replace these oil filter housing gaskets and oil cooler gaskets to keep it from happening again. But again, yes, everything is plastic. The expansion tank's plastic. Everything's plastic. But you're generally going to get over 100,000 miles out of even the worst maintained cooling systems on any BMW, which is pretty, it's pretty good, right? You know what I mean? So one thing you can do to kind of help yourself out, like I said, double check the upper radiator hose, make sure it's not contaminated with oil. The other thing you can do is look at this hose here. So this one goes down to the thermostat here. Kind of looks like a famous cartoon character that I won't say because I like monetization. But this is an aluminum flange that you can purchase, relatively inexpensive. I'll put the link in the description below. Feel free to grab one, pick one up. Chances are, if you ever do any work on the car, you're doing an oil filter housing gasket or whatnot, if you remove this from the engine, what's going to happen is the plastic flange is going to break off and leave probably the O-ring and that inner portion of the flange inside the engine, right? So gently get that out and replace it. But, kind of good preventative maintenance is replacing it with something like this aluminum piece here. In the shop, it's also good to have because these hoses aren't always the same, right? Between a 535 or 335 or this non-turbo X5 here, the hose lengths and sizes and shapes and whatnot are all different. But if you have a kind of an emergency flange replacement upgrade flange here, you can kind of do that work without fearing that you're going to snap that hose off and the car is going to be down. But anyway, we're going to go through, get all new hoses in here, new expansion tank. We're going to do a whole new cooling system here, and of course we're going to replace those oil filter housing and oil cooler gaskets to make sure that these hoses last as long as they can. Come on guys, over 100,000 miles, that's a pretty decent cooling system. But anyway, post down below, you want me to discuss something else, another topic, tips or tricks for you guys, and as always, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Talk to you guys later.